Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl. I'm a creative entrepreneur embracing every aspect of life with artistic intention. Join me as I share the way I live and all the tips and tricks along the way. Allow me to inspire you to do the same. Please like, share, or comment on my videos. I'd love to hear from you. And if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be first to know when there's something new. This is the first video in a two-part series from Crochet So Fine on the Dragonfly Shawl. It's this beautiful shawl that's worked in two separate pieces of lace and then joined with this gusset of dragonflies in a seamless construction. And I'm going to show you how to do all of it, but we're going to start today by showing you how to do this section, which is the lace offset shell pattern. We're going to be using a triple treble crochet and slip stitches. And so ultimately I'm going to show you how to make this one, and then how to join them as we go. So I'll show you. I've already done one of the side panels, and this is what it looks like. We are not showing it blocked because I want to show you actually how to block these pieces. So I'll wait till we've done the second piece and then we'll block them together, and then in the next video I'll show you how we join them with that beautiful dragonfly gusset that's completely seamless. So let's get started on repeating that for our second side. I'm using Be So Fine, my 100% bamboo fingering weight yarn, and I'm using an E-hook. I'm going to tie the yarn onto my hook with a knot. If you prefer a slip knot, go right ahead and do that. I think it's important to just use whichever technique you're most comfortable with. And this pattern is going to start with a chain 7. Okay, now we're going to the pattern will say that that counts as a triple treble and a chain 1. So actually chain 6 is the equivalent height of a triple treble crochet and then a chain 1. So now we're going to do a triple treble in the 7th chain from the hook. Remember, we don't count the loop on our hook. We start with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But because we did a chain 7, we can also safely assume that that means the first chain at the beginning. A triple treble is similar to a double crochet, treble crochet, double treble crochet, meaning double crochet is yarn over once, treble is yarn over twice, double treble is yarn over 3 times. Well, this time a triple treble means we're going to yarn over the hook 4 times. So we're going to yarn over once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times, and then we're going to insert our crochet hook into that 7th chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, 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 yarn over, pull through 2. A good reference is that however many times you've yarn overed at the beginning of the stitch, you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 one more time than that. So in this stitch we yarn over 4 times at the beginning of the stitch, and we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 5 times. So now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to do that triple treble stitch in that same chain space again. So we're going to yarn over 4 times, insert our hook into that same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2. I want you to pay close attention to where I'm placing my fingers. What I'm doing is creating the most amount of tension that I can while I'm doing the stitch so that I don't have really big gaping loops. One of the tricks, or one of the downsides of this stitch when you're learning, is that sometimes these loops can get really exaggerated and really messy. Now in the following row we're doing slip stitches so that we can hide it if you do have that. But if you're wanting to learn this stitch, learning how you hold your hook and place your fingers while you're doing it is really helpful. Okay, so we're going to yarn over, we did a chain 1, yarn over 4 times, insert our hook in the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2. Okay, we're going to do this for a total of 7 treble crochets in that chain, meaning that that beginning chain counted as 1, so we've got 4, so we're going to do 3 more. Chain 1, and another triple treble. Triple treble is abbreviated TTR in a pattern. This is the first video that I've done on YouTube that is specifically and directly related to requests. I'm really excited that I've gotten feedback from lots of people, and this is the first video that is part of that. Okay, so I'm going to set this down. We have completed our first shell. We have chain 7, which counted as a treble chain 1, then we have treble chain 1, 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 which was a total of 5 of that, and then one last treble for a total of 7 stems in our shell. So first row is complete. Row 2 starts with a chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and now we're going to work a slip stitch in every stitch and every chain 1 space across. So we're going to insert our hook in that first stitch, yarn over, pull it through the stitch and through the loop on our hook. That's a slip stitch. And then we're going to do the same thing in the chain 1 space, meaning just under the chain 1 space. We don't actually have to work into the chain. And then into the next stitch, then the next chain 1 space, into the next stitch. The key to doing a whole row of slip stitches is remembering to stay relaxed. Slip stitch has a tendency to get really tight if you let it. So what I would suggest is when you're doing this, just try to be relaxed about it. There's no reason to tighten this. You're already tightening up your work so much by putting a row of slip stitch that I wouldn't worry about it. Just try to stay loose and relaxed as possible. Okay, so we've slip stitched in each stitch and chain space across. Row 2 is complete. We're now ready to start row 3. And row 3, I'm going to show you on here. This means we've done our shell, we've done our slip stitch row, and now we're going to do our next increasing row, which means we're going to put 2 of these shells on either side of the first shell 2 rows below, separating it with a single crochet in the middle of that shell. So let's start that. We're going to start with a chain 7, and if you remember from the first row, that counts as our first triple treble and chain 1 space. We're going to yarn over 4 times, and we're going to insert our hook in the first stitch at the beginning of the row, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then whoops. It may be tough to figure out which stitch to work into here, but it really doesn't matter if you're working somewhere close to the edge, and as long as you're consistent with all of your stitches for that shell, it'll look perfect. So we're doing a total of 7 triple trebles in that stitch, separated by chain 1s, making sure to count that chain 7 at the beginning as your first triple treble and chain 1. See how when I'm going further along, my thumb and my finger that hold the work change position? I'm going to show you that again. We start the stitch at the bottom, and I've got my finger and thumb holding the body of work. But after I do the first yarn over pull through 2s, notice how I move my fingers up along the stem or the post of the stitch. That's so that I can maintain the same tension that I had down here as I'm working further up this really tall stitch. I think that's how I'm able to maintain beautiful tension in my stitches, is because I move where I place my fingers in between them. Oh, I forgot my chain 1. Let's set it down and see where we're at anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're ready for our 7th. Yarn over 4 times, insert our hook in the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2. Okay, so now we're ready to work our single crochet in the center of the shell 2 rows below. So that would mean we're going to work on top of this one here. You know, there's 7 posts in that shell, so you want to make sure you work over the center one. And now we're going to work another shell over the top of the first stitch all the way over here, or the last stitch, however you want to look at it. So yarn over 4 times, insert our hook in that last stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2, chain 1. And then we'll work another triple treble in the very same stitch. Chain 1. Okay, so we've got 4 so far. We need 7. Make sure you're always separating them with a chain one space. Okay, we've got all 7. So I'm going to set our work down now so you can see what that looks like. So we've increased now from 1 shell, slip stitched across all those stitches, then we've done 2 shells separated by a single crochet. So now in the next row we're going to slip stitch across this entire edge, working 1 slip stitch in every stitch and chain 1 space all the way across. I'll show you what that looks like. Once you get the hang of working a row of slip stitch, it's really not that difficult at all, and you can actually gain quite a momentum just by getting into the rhythm of it. So we'll slip stitch in the first stitch. We chain 1 first, slip stitch in the first, and then slip stitch in every stitch and chain 1 across. I work into the space below the chain 1. If you want to work into the actual chain, you can. I just suggest that however you decide to do it, just be consistent. I just think it's easier to work in the hole than work in the actual chain. And sometimes I'm looking for easy. Okay, we've worked our way across the shell. We're going to now single crochet or slip stitch in the single crochet, then start working in the next shell. In this next row, I think some of you might start seeing the pattern of what we're doing. Basically what we're going to be doing is always working a single crochet in the top point of each of the scallops of the shells, and we're always going to be working shells in the lower portion of the scallop. So at the front here, single crochet, a shell, single crochet, and a shell, which means now we've gone from 2 to 3, and I'll show you that again over here. So once you get established in this pattern, you can actually make it as long as you want, because you're always going to be going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and so on, because you're always going to be working one more shell than you had in the previous shell row. So I'll show you what this next row looks like. We're going to start it with a chain 7 still, and we're going to work, which counted as a treble and a chain 1. So now we're going to work a treble in the first stitch. And don't stress yourself out about recognizing where that first stitch is. Whatever you decide it is, if it's close to the edge, just be consistent and put them all there, and you'll be okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Okay, I'll set it down so you can see. We've now started our next increase row of shells. We have a shell at the beginning of the row, so we're now going to single crochet in the top of that shell, then work a shell in this single crochet, or in the slip stitch above it I mean, and then a single crochet here, and then a shell here. So we'll have a total of 3 shells when we're done with this row. Okay, then we'll single crochet into the top of the shell in the previous, and we'll do one last shell in the first stitch, or the last stitch at the end over here. So we're going to start with a triple treble, chain 1, you know the drill, 7 triple trebles with a single crochet, or with a chain in between all of them. Okay, so now we're going to follow that up with a row of slip stitch across every stitch and chain 1 space across. Alright, both my triangles are done, and you see I've turned it around. This is actually how they're going to face when we make the shawl. They're going to face out where the scalloped edge ends up being the outside edge, and we're going to do the gusset up the center. But before we do that, I thought it would be a great idea to block them, because once they're blocked a little bit, it'll be much easier to see where to put our stitches. So what I do is take a little bit of Rapture. This is the No Rinse Delicate Wash that comes with the purchase of the yarn, and I put it into a spray bottle with water, and then I'm just going to give this a light spritzing, both sides. Okay, the key in blocking and keeping a great shape in a shawl or in a swatch like this, and because it's the shape we're going to use, I feel like I can really give you some great pointers here. We start at the midpoint, and then you want to go out to the edge and pin at your edges. And then you want to start pinning at your midpoints. Okay? And then the midpoint between those two, and the midpoint between these two. Okay, and at this point what we're trying to do is just create a nice straight edge along those outside edges, and then this side is the side that we're going to actually make sure that it's scalloped. So the first place I want to pin is the very center of this edge, and I want to try to find that midpoint of the scallop, which would be the 4th of the 7 triple trebles. I'm going to pin it like that. Then I want to go between these two and find the midpoint of that scallop, and then find the midpoint of this last scallop, which would be the 4th of the 7 triple trebles. And then we'll do that again here. And we'll do that again here. Give it one more spritz and let it dry. We'll do that one more time. And grab a second tile. Any pinnable surface will work. I just prefer to use these tiles because when I'm doing an actual full-size shawl, they can join together really nicely. So we'll give it a spritz of my Rapture infused water on both sides. And then we'll set it out, same as we did the last one. And we'll pin at our midpoints. Oh, pin at our edges first, sorry. Got ahead of myself. It smells so good. And then we'll pin at the midpoints of those lines. Or edges, rather. And because I can see that there's extra stitch when there's an actual cluster, it makes more sense to pin there than to pin on a chain, in the chain edge. Because I really want them to be straight lines. I don't want them to have a scallop. If it doesn't have a scallop, you don't want it to scallop. And that's why pinning in the midpoints really helps to establish the perfectly straight lines that you're looking for. So then we'll do the center of our shells, which would be the 4th triple treble of the 7. We're going to let these dry, and when they are dry, come back, and in the next video I will show you how we join these with that beautiful lace that looks like dragonflies.